Hello everyone, it's Sal, Stretford Post. How you're doing? And welcome to another episode of Breaking Dawn. I hope everyone's doing good. Hope everyone's doing fine. Wherever you are in the world, it is Thursday, the 10th of July, guys. It is nearly mid-July, guys, and nothing is going on at the moment. Anything solid, that's for sure. Transfers, forget about it. What transfers? What's going on? Man United transfer window. What's that all about? Never heard of a transfer window in my life. What's going on? That is basically how Ineos are acting at the moment in regards to Manchester United. I mean, it's not like we finished 15th last season, is it? It's not like that. You know what? We're acting like we've actually won the league last season. We actually won the league last season. I think that's what it is. I think it's like a kind of reverse psychology on the Man United fan base. Don't do any transfers during the transfer window. They might think we're actually good already. I mean, come on, guys. Absolutely ridiculous. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new. And please don't forget to smash a like on the video. If you guys could do that for me, that'd be absolutely splendid, of course, guys. Let's get straight into it, of course, guys. Right now, Man United, of course, a little nice little bit of news. Man United have signed the young player, of course, for the future. Another one for the future, guys. Man United have signed another player for the future. That player's name is Harley Emston-James. I mean, Harley Emston-James, we knew about it a few weeks ago, didn't we? We were talking about Harley Emston-James signing for Man United a few weeks ago. We knew that was going to happen. That was a foregone conclusion. 16-year-old centre-back, highly rated. Look, I don't like to brush off things like this. I don't like to just say, it's another young player. Who cares? At the end of the day, because he's 16, he's old enough to play. You know what I mean? So one thing I would say is that, good luck to him. Best of luck to Harley Emston-James. And I hope that he reaches the potential that he could possibly reach and he makes history at Man United. And that's why I will always say in regards to that, no, it's not the kind of transfers that we want at the moment. We need fit and ready to go players right now. We do need that. Unfortunately, we're not getting that at the moment. But if anything, little bit of positive comes out, I'm going to tell you, as I said, and Harley Emston-James is one of them. Harley Emston-James will be a generational talent in regards to defence. Remember these words, guys, are generational. We've already got Aiden Heaven, Lenny Yoro, of course, and having Harley Emston-James in there as well is, brilliant. Great stuff, guys. He's, what can we say? We have to try and take the small little blessings that come our way, don't we, at the moment, especially the way that Ineos are treating his fan base in this window, of course, which is not acceptable. And I know it's not acceptable. Absolutely, guys. Now, Manchester United, of course, are looking around, snoozing around, walking around, crawling around, rolling around, whatever they're doing, they're slow. And they are the players that are being linked to Manchester United are being recycled around and around and around. For example, Tyler Dibling. Of course, the Southampton right winger, highly rated. Lots of teams are in for him. Two caps for England under 21s. He's wanted by numerous amounts of teams as well. What I would say about Tyler Dibling, great. Yeah, let's get Tyler Dibling in, shall we? He's going to cost about 40 million, isn't he? It's too much money for a player of that age, of that ilk. The problem is the Premier League tax, isn't it? It's the British tax that adds on top. The right winger, he can play attacking midfielder, can play centre forward. Very, very versatile player, very talented player. But obviously the price tag is a little bit much as well, guys. I don't think there's a fair balance here, of course, because I'm looking at some players, they're going for 40, 50 million. Then every time it's a Man United player, we can't get rid of him. It's ridiculous. Napoli have offered 45 million for Garnacho, and that is why I'm here. I'm in Naples at the moment. This is what I'm hearing. They've offered 45 million for Garnacho. Guys, Gittins goes for 55. Who's better? Garnacho's better, guys. Come on. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous the way we're going at the moment. The way other teams see our players. They think goodness, I don't blame them in one way. I don't blame them because the way we've been run over the number of years that the teams could feel it, right to offer 45 million for a proven talent like Garnacho. It's ridiculous, isn't it? And then you got obviously Tyler Dibling, who's going to be going for 40 to 50 million. It's crazy. This window is crazy. And at the end of the day, I think that Garnacho's price and his valuation has decreased significantly because of what happened last season, of course, guys. But that shouldn't really make a difference. But obviously teams feel like, you know what, He wants to leave. We're going to offer 45. Absolutely not. Give another 20 million. That would be okay. But not 45. That would be absolutely incompetence of the highest order. A guy who won the Puskas Award, who's top 5 world young players of the year, who was a Copa America winner as well, guys. So, I mean, it would be absolutely crazy to do that. Hope everyone is doing well. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Let me have a little snooze at some of the... I'm going to have a snooze at the comments. Big up. I'm talking like the Glazers. Albie, what's going on, my friend? I'll be doing hey, mate, look, let's also talk about how good Shaw and Rashford look. They definitely ain't leaving this season. Well, look, Shaw ain't leaving this season. I will tell you that right now. I don't think we need any genius to work that out. That Shaw ain't leaving this season. Shaw does the Missing Persons Act, doesn't he? Every time it comes to this time of year, he does the Missing Persons Act. In regards to Rashford, same old. Every single summer, Rashford is doing his PR campaign. Rashford is, running and jogging. Well done, Rashford. If he was an Olympic sprinter, fantastic. But you know what? Guys, listen, let me tell you something about Marcus Rashford. And this is the one thing I heard from a source very, very close to the entourage of Rashford, right? And he told me, right, he fell out with them. And he told me that Marcus Rashford can manipulate in training. He will manipulate in training. He will kill it in training. He will smash it in training. You know what I mean? But when it gets to the match day, he will do that little bit of jog. You know what I mean? That little jog that, you know what I mean? If training was match day, we'll be bloody Champions League winners. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, because I'm fed up with seeing these PR campaigns in regards to Man United players training hard. Well, you should train hard. You're playing for Manchester United at the end of the day. That's a given. We don't want to see you training hard for a small little segment on YouTube or TikTok, wherever it is. We want to see you playing on that pitch and training every single day hard and staying after training to train and work hard. That's what players used to do back in the day. They didn't need cameras there to do it either. They used to just do it. You know what I mean? But these days, they just want to have their little PR campaign. Look at me. I'm ready. I'm raring to go. We don't want you, mate. I don't want you. I don't think anyone else wants you, mate. You know what I mean? We're tired of you losers. And I would tell that right now, you're a bunch of losers, mate. Look at PSG, mate. Look at PSG. Look what they're doing, man. Look at PSG come from. You know what I mean? Absolute bums, man. Honest to God, I'm tired of these PR campaigns. They make me obviously. And this is not just a dig at Rashford. This is all of them. I've seen Mason Mount. I've seen all of them. As you said there, Luke Shaw. I mean, I'm just fed out of it. We've seen this. We've read this story before. We've been here before, haven't we, bruv? At the end of the day. Now, look, another name that is being circulated, of course, again, is Ederson. Ederson, Atalanta midfielder, of course, highly rated midfielder, who's not only wanted by Man United, he's a generational. He's wanted by a number of teams around Europe. Manchester United are inquiring about starting talks with Ederson. This is what I'm hearing. That would be great if I would believe it. Now, I heard various noises around that Ederson could be talking to Man United very soon. And what I would say about that is, Salt Bay, bit of salt, because at the end of the day, we haven't got Mbeumo over the line. Now, a lot of people are thinking that, Mbeumo's not going through. Mbeumo's going through, guys. They're waiting for the kit relaunch. That's what I said already. I've said that already. The kit launch, and Mbeumo's going to play for Man United next season. Guys, let me tell you. The problem is that Man United are spending so much time in Mbeumo, we ain't going after players like Ederson, even though we can, and we could possibly get them. Now, Ederson, of course, would be high up the priority list for Manchester United if we were going for a central midfielder after we get Mbeumo and a striker in. Then we'll be looking at the midfield, of course. So, Ederson will be high up that list. So it's interesting to see that we're still linked with Ederson. The noises are still going around about Ederson, that Man United want Ederson. That's great. Yeah, that's great. We want a lot of players. I've heard we want over 100 players. Do you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, look, just get a move on and get a step on and let's move. Because at the end of the day, look, we need to concentrate on other parts of the area of the pitch as well. We've got lots of players to come in. We've got lots of players to go out. And, at this rate, I think we're going to be getting our business done in August. That's what I'm thinking at the moment, if we are lucky. You know what I mean? So that's what I say. Cornish, good morning. How you doing, my friend? Big up yourself. Hope you're doing well. Big up Albie, by the way. Thank you for that lovely comment. If we are to get in Mbeumo, then Ineos needs to pull their finger out as Spurs are going for Issa and destroy the deal for us. Stop pissing around Ineos and that. Yeah, exactly, Cornish. You make a good point, mate, because at the end of the day, you know what? If they lose Issa as well, and Mbeumo, if Tottenham sign Wisa, it's going to be more difficult to sign Mbeumo because that would mean that Brentford would have lost two of their best players, and you know what, they'd be putting themselves in a bit of a predicament. And obviously, what Brentford are thinking about, as fair enough, they're thinking about themselves as well. They want to replace these players as well. So the longer we take, the less time they have to replace Mbeumo. So this is why they want the money up front, majority of the money up front. The payment agreement is already there. It's the structure of the deal, which is the problem that Man United have been daddying about. However, I do feel like the deal will be done in the middle of July. I think this is going to be done. I think they're gonna do the old kit launch, as I said yesterday. That's what they're going to do on the 16th of July. The kit is released. Don't be surprised if you hear positive noises about this deal around the middle of July, because what they're going to do, Man United are using it as an opportunity to sell shirts. This is what we do at the end of the day. So Man United, you know what, just faffing about, and just waiting for the 15th or 16th of July, around that time, 17th of July, around that time when the new shirt is released. So people will start buying their old jersey, the Mbeumo jersey, isn't it, at the end of the day? Big up, Cornish. If Ineos lose the Mbeumo deal, the fan base will be looking for fearing for blood. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe will get the backlash, and it wouldn't accept. He said he wouldn't accept. You know what I would say, Cornish mate? You know what? If he doesn't want to accept it, please be my guest. Here's the door. Please leave. That's what I would say to Jim Ratcliffe, mate. I would say, if you don't want to do it, if you're not happy with the backlash, the criticism, which is fair. The one thing I would say about Man United fans around the world, right, is that we are very fair fan base. We don't just jump on people for the sake of jumping on people, right? If we will call it out as it is. We will praise you when it's necessary to be praised. But if you're getting criticised and you can't accept it, Jim, if you don't take accountability for your own actions, number one, you already annoyed the fan base anyway by facilitating the Glazers and keeping the Glazers at the football club. Yeah, we told you when you took that little vanity project of yours, we told you that you better make sure that you get the transfers in, you move this football club up. You better make sure you do the job properly. That's what we said. And I don't want to hear about, I'm going to walk, mate. Walk if you still can walk, mate. You're a 77-year-old. Just go. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you're not wanted, mate. You know what I mean? You bought on this vanity project. You're a Chelsea fan. You're not a Man United fan. I'm sorry. You'll be absolutely a fool to think this guy cares about this football club. He don't care about this football club. He cares about the money that this football club could potentially bring in for him. This way he's not spending any of his money, not spending any of the 4 billion he was going to buy Chelsea with. Why don't he spend some of that money on the team? Why are we faffing about with a few million with Mbeumo when Jim Ratcliffe is sitting on billions that he was going to buy Chelsea with? You know what I mean? And Chelsea rejected him, by the way. Chelsea rejected him. It's crazy when you think about it. And I'm tired of these people trying, what they're doing. Like, there's the little violin, guys. Here's a little violin. That's a little violin for Jim Ratcliffe. Because at the end of the day, listen, I'm not here to give him sympathy. I'm not giving none of them. Like, at the end of, we're Manchester United, for goodness sake. I'm sitting here having to watch teams like PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, right, winning bloody tournament after tournament, winning trophies. You know what I mean? And seeing Man United just sitting down in the 15th place, losing to Tottenham in a bloody Europa League final that I never in my life would have envisioned. My older brother is a Tottenham fan. I had my older brother, you know what I mean, bantering me. Do you know how that feels? But he's a Tottenham fan. He's been a Tottenham fan for 40 years. You know how that feels? It's absolutely horrible. Absolutely. Big up, Cornish, my friend. Big up. Randall, what's going on, my friend? Are we doing well? Sal, surely there's a strike in the lower divisions we can get. Why don't they get this Alex checkout and players that they are looking at? Randall, you're absolutely right, mate. You're absolutely spot on in regards to players that play in the lower divisions. Look, I would argue that I would rather get a player in Championship League 1, League 2 than get a player like Calvert-Lewin, for example. You know what I mean? I would like to do that. There are talented players in there. Obviously, the level jump in regards to the lower divisions and the Premier League is astronomical. It is, even when you look at the likes of Burnley and teams that go up, they generally go back down, don't they? Even though their players are good in the Champions League, in the Championship, isn't it? So what I would say is that that's an idea that Man United could possibly do, go to the lower divisions. But it's a risk as well. It's a risk as well. Tyler Dibbling is one of them now. Obviously, I think he plays in the Championship now. Obviously, with Southampton, he'd be playing in the Championship. He is one of them. Man United could possibly do that. And as I said, I would much rather do that. But look, guys, let's get this clear, right? We have a player called Chido Obi Martin. Chido Obi Martin is a very, very good player. And Chido Obi Martin, if he was playing in the Championship, he would score goals, guys. Chido Obi Martin would score goals in the Championship. You know, this is what we have to remember. You know what I mean? We've got players there that, are talented, who are going to be superstars. Now, if we sign in Mbeumo, I would play Chido Obi Martin up front. I would. I wouldn't play Rasmus. I'll pick Rasmus on the bench. I'll play Chido Obi Martin. I think he's a better player. That's what I'm saying. I think Chido Obi Martin's ceiling is much higher than Rasmus. I think Chido Obi Martin is going to be a class striker. We just have to give him the chance, have to give him the confidence, nurture him a little bit, and you know what, that's what I would do. But I don't think he's going to do that. I think it will be Rasmus and Bumo and Cunha if we don't sign a striker. You know, I don't want Calvert-Lewin. Absolutely not. As I said, injury prone, 1,000 games in the last, 5 years. It's the same with Vlahovic, his injury record. I like Vlahovic. I do like Vlahovic. But I would take him for Sancho. I would. But what I would say also represents a risk because obviously he's injury prone as well. And as we know, with injuries at Man United, you know, it's ridiculous. Tucker, good morning, my friend. How are you doing? Good morning, good afternoon, good Tucker. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining the stream. But as if it deal is over with that, it's not over, mate. Tucker, it's only just begun. Absolutely. Big up, Ellen. Big up, Tucker. Big up, Ellen. Good morning. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you again. Good morning, Sal. Our club is searching transfer expert in the biggest transfer window. Absolute shambles, mate. Look, you know what I mean, Ephraim, there's nothing I want more than to come on this stream every morning and be positive about our football club. You know, that's what I want. I want to come on here and be, yes, because I'm a guy who thrives on positivity. I'm a guy who loves... Sometimes people say I'm overly zealous. Some people say I'm overly positive sometimes. And, you know, I like to be because at the end of the day, I think life is beautiful and I think we're lucky to be sitting there talking about football. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. But Man United, I love Man United. I love my football club and I want my football club to do well, you know, and at the moment they're not. And, you know, we have to be serious here and we cannot have toxic positivity. And even though I want to be positive, I can't be positive about the situation that's going on right now because that would mean I wouldn't care. You know, because if I was positive right now, jumping up and down, praising Ineos, making excuses for Ineos, buying Ineos time, you know, I would be, you know, that would be disingenuous, isn't it? Disingenuous. That would be that. That would be, you know, not in the best interest of the football club. And that would be like, for example, showing that you don't really care about the situation. You know, as I said, there are many people out there, you know, stand behind a green screen, make positive videos about Ineos and stuff like that because they supported Ineos. I'm not one of those guys. I'm a proper Man United supporter, mate. I'm a proper Man United. Guys, my life is 95% Manchester United. Do you know what I mean? And I don't jump up and down and be positive on what is not there to be positive about. And unfortunately, we have to call things as they are. Absolutely. Big up, Ephraim. Hope you're doing well. Johnny, what's going on, my friend? I saw United is looking for a head scout. Would you mind being... I mean, I would love it, Johnny AI. If they gave me a call, I mean, unfortunately, you know what? I'm not a part of the mates race sort of thing around the football club. You know, I would love to be there. I would love to be a scout at Man United. I will find them 10 players in the next month. I guarantee you. I'll find them more than that. I'll say, here's a bunch of players that are good enough to play for Man United at affordable prices. I will find that. Because part of me feels like, you know, they're not too interested in signing players that are good enough, right? We've got, obviously, other teams now in the Premier League going after John Arias. I mean, John Arias, right? The guy who plays for Fluminense. Is it Fluminense? We got teams going after him now. You know what I mean? A good player that I've mentioned on the show a couple of times. Okay, John Arias. What are Man United doing? Part of me feels like, as I was going to carry on, part of me feels like that they don't want to sign players that are not going to sell shirts. That's what I'm feeling like. That's why they're not looking at the unknown quantity. They're looking at the Mbumos. They're looking at these type of players. In the World Cup Championship, there were a lot of players on display from various clubs that could possibly come to Man United that would love to come to Manchester United. And they will give their all and play for Manchester United. Why are we snoozing? Why have we got the snooze button on again? What is going on here? You know, why are we not moving? You know, I would love to take the job at Man United. I would love to do a job at Man United because I would do a better job. I would tell them right now. I would tell them, right, I would do it for free. I would do it for free. I wouldn't get paid and I will find you players. Guy, I will find you players. Here's a bunch of players that you should be signing that are good enough for Man United. And I won't just look in bloody Europe. I will look in Japan. I will look in South America. I will look in Africa. I will look in Asia. I look everywhere. And I'll find you players that are good enough to play for this football club. Not the odd isolated incident that Wilcox has done in regards to Kone and, Aiden Heaven and Diego Leon. These are isolated situations. I'm talking about proper scouting and bringing players in that are going to make a difference now. You know what I mean? What I'm talking about. And I don't think they really want to do that. You know, it's like they want to save on the air miles or something like that. Sal, do you think they did not sign in Boom at a time of not paying the wages? That could be a possibility, Ephraim. And what I would do is say is that I don't discard anything in regards to money and Ineos. I don't really, I can't sit here and say that Ineos wouldn't do that, because at the end of the day, the way they're working at the moment, it proves that they are only interested in one thing, which is the money. And there's nothing wrong in being only interested about the money. That's fine, as long as you're interested on the pitch as well. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, money's important at the end. That's true. But so is being successful on the pitch, because your bread and butter is being successful on the pitch. Now, I cannot fathom how you would come into a football club, right, understand the valuation of the Champions League and not want to aim at being in the Champions League, because you have a potential to make more money in the Champions League. Look at Liverpool, look at Arsenal and teams like that. They can afford players because they were in the Champions League getting 100 million a year. Now, I don't understand how Man United would, risk not being in the Champions League. This summer should have been right. What we got to do, we got to get back in that Champions League. This is what they should have been doing this summer. They should have been like, we need to absolutely completely smash the transfer window, get the players in and get us ready for that Champions League challenge. That's what it should have been. But at the moment, it's a bit like, what we're going to do, right? We're going to have stability. We're going to have stability and we're going to drag this on. We're going to keep dragging this on until we get to the Regeneration Project. Once we get to the Regeneration Project, Ching, we've done it. We've got it. We dragged the Man United team all the way the past these 3 years, underachieving, and we got our Regeneration Project. Once the Regeneration Project is done, then they're going to think, now we can invest in the team. But unfortunately, we are Manchester United. We're not waiting for a bloody tent of a stadium in Greater Manchester. We're not caring about that. You know what I mean? What we care about is what happens on the pitch now. Right, at the end of the day, I don't want to think about 5-10 years when the stadium is built. I don't really want to think about that. Thank you very much. No, thank you. I want to see what happens now. You know what I mean? As I told Jamie Jackson the other day, I said, I don't care if we play on Hackney Marshes, right, which is basically a pitch in East London, right, which I used to play on. And I don't care if we play there, as long as we're successful on the pitch. If you are successful on the pitch, you're qualifying for the Champions League consistently, organically you will make money. Then organically you will build your stadium. That's how it works. We don't need a £1 billion project going into a stadium. I'm being honest with you guys. We don't need that. Right now, what Man United need is a football team. And with a football team, you will organically build your own football stadium. At the moment, we're running before we can crawl. And that is what we're trying to do. I think it's really funny. I think it's really ironic that Jim Ratcliffe is talking about, oh, well, we're going to walk to the right decision rather than run to the wrong decision. He's running at the moment when he talks about the stadium, because at the moment, Man United shouldn't be in a position to be thinking about a brand new, shiny, glossy new stadium. Man United should be thinking about the most important thing right now, which is a football team, a good football team. That's what it should be at the end of the day, because all this walking and running when it's convenient, talking about walking when it's convenient, for you, because it's all about you, isn't it? And the Skrilla, isn't it? At the end of the day, and then talking about a stadium, jumping ahead of yourself and talking about a stadium. I mean, walking to the right decision rather than running to the wrong decision, and we're basically running to the wrong decision with the stadium, in my opinion, right now. Big up, Sanjay. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you, of course. Hope you're doing well. Madison, what's going on? On Talks FC. Big up, Madison. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you, mate. Hope everything is blessed. Are we stuck on the Rashford forever? Madison, I really hope not. I really hope that we're not stuck on Rashford forever, because I think not only is Rashford a bad footballer for Man United, I think he's also a bad influence on the team, because we've got a lot of young players at Man United right now, and I don't want them to be influenced by a bad egg. And they will be. And I'll tell you why, because he's an experienced player. He's been around the block. He's in his mid-20s, late 20s now. And you know what? He can have a negative impact on the young players. So fingers crossed he doesn't go to the tour. Fingers crossed Sancho doesn't go to the tour and we go to America without these players. I'd much rather go to America against Leeds United on the 19th of July and, have the youth team there than have these players there stinking out the place again, moaning and stuff like that behind the scenes and stuff. These are king manipulators. These players are king manipulators. Marcus Rashford is a king manipulator. Now, people will tell me, Sal, don't pick on Marcus Rashford or Jadon Sancho. Look, at the end of the day, I used to like Marcus Rashford a lot. When Marcus Rashford made his debut, I was so chuffed for the lad. I was so pleased for Marcus Rashford. I was so happy for Marcus Rashford. I remember it when we played Arsenal that time and we scored 2 goals. I was delighted. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, another one through the youth system, youth courage success. That's what I was like at the end of the day. But he has declined since then. He's declined. He's a lesser player than he was then. Now, he's a lesser player now than he was then. That is what Marcus Rashford is at the moment, sadly. Good morning, Revat7. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you, mate. Hope everything is blessed, my friend. Hope everything's blessed. Big up, big up. Ellen, Short is going to have a good season. He looks fit and wants to get his spot in the national team. I mean, at the end of the day, what I'm going to say, Ellen, is that you're probably right. This is what Shaw's going to do. But is that right, though? Do you think that's right, that he's only going to perform because he wants to get in the World Cup squad? Do you think that's right? And if I was Thomas Tuchel for England, I would look at that. Because that shows you, mentality. He's got the wrong mentality. He's got the wrong idea about what playing for Manchester United is at the end of the day. You need to concentrate on who's paying your wages first. You need to concentrate on your bread and butter, which is your league team, and then concentrate on the England national team. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. And I wouldn't be surprised if by April, March, he has a great run of form and then he's playing really well. And then after the World Cup, he gets a knock. Trust me, he'll get a knock, and that knock will last months and months and months, and he'll be out of the team, and then we'll be talking about getting rid of Luke Shaw again, Spot on. He was walking around on the pitch. Madison, absolutely. You can manipulate in training. You can pretend that you're this world-class player in training, and everyone can look good in training. But when you get on the pitch, you can slander, you can sabotage someone. You can sabotage someone. As I said, look, we've all seen the videos. We've seen him pull out of headers. We've seen him walking around the pitch, right? We've seen him semi-press with a little awkward little jog. We've seen that. You know what I mean? We're not blind. We're not stupid. We've been watching football our whole life. I've been watching football since the late 80s, guys. I've been watching Man United all throughout the success. I used to go to Old Trafford at the front row of the Stretford end, right? And I used to see players dripping with sweat. Patrice Evra was meters away from me, and he was sick on the pitch. Sick. Vomited. Threw up because he was running so much. He wanted it so much. These players, they walk on the pitch, they look the same. They walk off the pitch, they look the same. They've got no sweat, they're nothing. You know what I mean? It's like, what car I'm going to buy? You know what I mean? They're probably breaking more of a sweat thinking about what car they're going to buy or something like that. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, and people say I'm harsh. People say I'm cruel. I've seen it all. I've sat there at a treble. I was in Barcelona for a treble. I've seen us win a treble. I've seen us win Champions League and league doubles. I've seen us win doubles. I've seen us come from the abyss with kids and win the championship and a FA Cup double. I've seen it all. I've seen every single goal. You know what I mean? And when I look at this team now, and then if you can only know when you compare it to what you've seen. And you compare the different eras and and people tell me, this is a different time now. This is a different time now. No. Effort, desire, will to win, love for the football club never changes. Never changes. Right? The only thing that has changed in this world right now is social media, is gaming and things like that, which are swaying footballers off the goal, in my opinion. I think they've got too much noise, too much things going on around them, And what I would say is that football is losing its soul. It's losing the street footballer, for example. I was talking about it yesterday about the street footballer. The street footballer is no longer around anymore. This is why I would go after players in South America, because the street footballer is still around. In Europe, it's like a player gets a little bit of talent, can run a bit, it's a little bit quick. He gets a contract, and he's already like on decent money from a young age. And that's the problem I think that football has at the moment, unfortunately. So I would not be surprised if the club did not buy any strikers. They will make Xerxes as a striker. Look, Ephraim, if Xerxes is the striker for next season, I wish Xerxes the best of luck. Again, Xerxes got the PR videos. He's training very hard. Great. Look, I like Xerxes. Okay, I think Xerxes suffered a lot last season, unfairly. I would say, But what I would say is that, wish him the best of luck. But he's not a goal scorer. He's not going to get you 20, 30 goals a season. He's a number 10. That will just be, again, shoehorning players into certain positions, trying to fit players in. And that's not what Man United need right now, guys. I'll be honest with you guys. Man United need a centre forward. And we've been crying out for a centre forward ever since Ibrahimovic left. You know, we need a striker, absolutely. Big up Albie, you absolute legend. Giving one membership. Thank you so much, Albie, you absolute superstar. Thank you so much. You are very generous and you're very kind. Thank you very much. You're more generous and you're more kinder than Ineos, that's for sure. Thank you very much. Revert7, I hate all these players showing clips of them showing off in training. I don't care. Exactly. Revert7, you speak my mind, my friend. You speak my mind. I don't care. I don't. All I care about is winning a Europa League final against a very, very weak Tottenham Hotspur team. That's all I care about, because that's still fresh on my mind. I don't care if you're training. I don't care if you're training well or they're training really hard. I don't care. You should train hard. You should train hard. Maybe you should get a job, you know, in a tough job. Maybe you should become a doctor or a nurse or something like that and work 12-hour shifts, right? Maybe you should do that. Maybe you should do that and tell me how hard these people work. Oh, you got to do a little bit of running. Oh, poor you. Guys, for goodness me, mate. I'm much older than Rashford and I run more than him. Let me tell you that right now. Honest to God, these people, they're just manipulators. And people shouldn't be fooled by this. And there is a player FC sort of thing going on here. There's this player FC. In particular with Rashford, there's a player FC nonsense. Do you know what I mean? And we shouldn't be fooled by the player FC nonsense. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Big up Albie again for the super chat. You absolute legend. Good day, Sal. Good day, mate. Struth, mate. Speaking on snoozing in the comments, Real Madrid got snoozed by PSG. Yeah. Real Madrid, look, let me tell you something about Real Madrid, Kenny. Look, I know people are going to jump and say, PSG. PSG are a great side, don't get me wrong. But Real Madrid are not that good anymore. Let me tell you that right now. We all saw that when they played Arsenal last season, didn't we? That they're pretty rubbish, right? So, look, what I would say is that, yeah, I wouldn't read too much into that. I hope they beat Chelsea in the final. I hope they do. I really do. I think it would be a much tougher game for PSG against Chelsea. That's what I would say. But I think PSG will win it. I did say it from the beginning that PSG will probably win that tournament. Big up. Revert7. Did you see Ratigi sign for? Yeah, I did. And only what is it? How much did he go for? What, 68 million? 65 million? Around that much? Did he only go for that much money? You know? Unbelievable. Another one bites the dust. Dun, dun, dun. Another one bites the dust, guys. Ratigi no longer is a possibility for Man United. Another striker out the window. Yeah, I was trying not to mention it because it's depressing. It is depressing that Man United miss out on another striker. Another striker that is off the market. Do you know what I mean? Thank you. Big up, Albie. Enjoy it, Ellen. Thank you very much, Albie. I've got some great new membership videos coming up very, very soon, guys. I'm working on it. I'm going to do some workout here as well. So look forward to it. And I won't let you down, my pits. Big up, everyone. Big up. Big up, UK Darren. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. I bought Ederson as off to Saudi. No, at the moment, there is obviously noise around Ederson and Saudi Arabia, but nothing solid at the moment. What I'm hearing is that he wants to stay in Europe for another season, another contract. Great signing for Man United if we get it. You know what I mean? But at the moment, I'm feeling that, you get into that position right now where you feel like, no, nothing is going to happen for Man United. You feel like, are we ever going to get anything done in this window? I mean, we're going to leave things very, very late. That's pretty obvious. I don't think we're going to have... I think we're having Mbeumo in before the preseason against Leeds. I think we will. I think Mbeumo will be in America. If Mbeumo's not in America, for goodness sake, I mean, he will be in America for the preseason tour. And, other than that, I don't think we're going to get anyone else in for probably the mid-August, probably, which is an absolute disgrace. And I don't think... And what I want, and I urge, and I'm going to keep repeating this, guys, what I don't want is people to forget this. I don't want people to forget what has happened this summer. I don't want people to look at Ruben Amorim and start blaming Ruben Amorim. Because at the end of the day, we all knew what we needed this summer, don't we? We all knew the positions that we needed. We all knew the players that needed to leave. I don't want people forgetting, having memory syndrome and forgetting what shit show of a transfer window this is. We need to understand that and we need to remember that. And I won't forget that. And I didn't forget it last season. I said it in January that he needed a striker. We needed a striker. And we actually predicted the final of the Europa League. We said we're going to lose 1-0 to Tottenham. Tottenham will score 1-0, game over. We won't score. And that's exactly what happened. We said that in January. We said he needed to buy a striker for him. He needs a striker, and he didn't get him one. Now, I want people to remember this season. I want people to remember that, he needed to be backed. He's not been backed with the players that would suit his system. At the moment, he's not been backed. And you can have Mbeumo, you can have Cunha. Fantastic. But that should just be the start. That should just be the start. We needed a striker, a right wing back, a midfielder, a goalkeeper, probably never another defender as well. And here we are, diddling down, twiddling our thumbs with one deal after it. Look, guys, Manchester United started talks with Mbumo. Now, what is it? I think it was 36 days ago. Today, 36 days ago, and we're still talking. Goodness me, this is a bit. Guys, can I just please explain something to Ineos right here? This is football, not eHarmony, right? You are not judged on how long you're speaking to someone. This is not a relationship. This is a football transfer. Can I just say that to you, Ineos? Right? This is not Match.com, right? This is a football transfer. You're not rewarded for how long you're talking to each other. You know what I mean? Let me just clear that up for you. This is a football transfer, not eHarmony. All right? So can you get that transfer over the line? All right, please? Because this is taking a very, very long time. You know what are you waiting for? An anniversary? What are you waiting for? Valentine's Day? Is that what you're waiting for? You know what I mean? We've been talking to each other now for 6 months. Oh, it's so glad that I met Mbumo. So glad. It's ridiculous, isn't it, guys? Mad, absolutely. Kick Launch FC, 15th. Big up. Big up, Brian and Boo. No, maybe. Big up, Dylan. How you doing? Ephraim. Sal, do you watch along for the World Cup? Absolutely no. And I'll tell you why I don't do a watch along for the World Cup, because I don't think it's the best teams that are in it, that deserve to be in it. And I'm not talking about teams that are really good now. I'm talking about historically. I think historically, Manchester United and Liverpool should have been in the World Cup. That's how it should have started. Guys, it should have started by the most successful teams in football history. This is how it should have started. So it should have been Barcelona, Real Madrid from Spain, Man United, Liverpool from England, AC Milan, Juventus from Italy. It should have been like that. That's how it should have been for the starters. It shouldn't have been, the last 4 years, because it's your narrative. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'm not doing the watch along for that, mate. Absolutely no interest whatsoever in absolute farce. And look, you've got a player that got injured. Musiala got injured having this tournament. It's ridiculous, isn't it? I might do one, however, Ephraim, for the final, but I'm not made up my mind yet. They got spanked, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, but then again, Eden, when you look at last season, didn't they get spanked by Arsenal? You know what I mean? And then you look at it and you think it takes a little bit of a gloss of it. I don't think Real Madrid are quite that team anymore. Alonso's going to have a tough job, definitely. Glazers aren't going. They're not going anywhere. They've got a Regeneration Project, Ellen, coming up in Manchester. Let's not forget that. They got Lord Coe involved as well, the guy who organised the 2012 Olympic Games. Lord Coe, if you want to ruin your reputation, mate, try and mingle with the Glazers and you'll see what will happen, mate. Let me tell you that right now. Try and mingle with the Glazers and you'll see what happens. Now, look, the best thing to happen for Manchester United right now is for the Regeneration Project to be rejected. That is what we need, because then they haven't got that. And then they'll probably think about selling. And so will Ineos. You'll see their true colours, trust me. Pray for Chelsea. I think Chelsea will do all right. I don't think they'll do that badly. I think tactically, football doesn't work like that. But I think PSG will win 2-1, 3-1. Chadinga, Ineos came in to rescue us, but I'm not seeing any difference on the Glazers apart from chasing workers for a month. Look, you know what? I mean, rescue us. The only rescue, what should have been Chandiga, my friend, is Qatar. That all they would have done to rescue Man United, all Ineos needed to do was step aside and let Qatar buy the football club, because the Glazers couldn't afford the football club at that time, at that present moment in time. They were given a life support machine. So basically, Qatar were the life support machine of Manchester United, right? So what has happened is that Jim Ratcliffe has walked over to Old Trafford, unplugged that life support machine and gave it to the Glazers. That's basically what happened. Now, we have to be honest, guys. We have to be honest about that. They facilitated the Glazers. They slept with the Glazers. They were the Glazers' saviour. And I would never forgive that, ever, because this is about the football club. They don't care about this football club. Honestly, they don't care. Otherwise, I just would have said, get the Mbumo deal done. Whatever it takes, just get the Mbumo deal done so we can move on. That is what someone would do if they cared about the football club. You know, that's what Qatar would have done. Qatar would have said, Luke Shaw, Marcus Rashford, Sancho, pay off their contracts, get rid of them. Qatar would have said, oh, you know what? New stadium. No, we can't move from Old Trafford. Let's regenerate the stadium here at Old Trafford. How much did the railway want? That much? Okay, we'll deal with that railway as well. And we'll build the stadium where it should be, at Old Trafford, where we're historically known. You know what I mean? How much does this team need investment in? 1 billion investment in the football team? Let's do it. Who do we need? That's what they would have done. No, but we're here stuck with penny pinching old Jim Ratcliffe. Make your apologies louder than your slanderous sabotage during the takeover process. Make them loud, because that is what the Ineos people, fanboys, fangirls should be doing right now. Because we warned you about this. We warned you. I went on Qatari TV and I spoke about it. I've been, you know what I mean? At the end, I was in Qatar the other day. You know. And the key is that if Man United and the Glazers sell up, they're not going to sell up at the moment with this regeneration project in the pipeline. This regeneration project needs to be rejected, needs to be declined. I don't think it's going to be. Once Lord Cole gets involved and all that, you know what I mean? They're going to get what they want, which is a regeneration project. And what they want to do is that they're going to drag Man United through mediocrity and blame finances. This is why I always say we're not broke. We're not broke, because this is what they want. They want to drag Man United, spend as little as they. I mean, they've got the money, but they want to spend as little as possible throughout the next years until the regeneration project is underway, right, or it's complete, right? And then they're going to say start investing in the team. But they want to stabilize Man United through many years, right? Whilst this regeneration project is going on, and spend as little as possible. Believe that, guys. That's what they want to do, and this is something that we predicted many months ago, guys. And it's absolutely unacceptable. Good morning, British Bulldog. How you doing, mate? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you, mate. Good to see you again. Absolutely. Do one Ineos worse than the Glazers ever was? Look, at the end of the day, they're both bad, British Bulldog. But what I would argue is that are we better off with Glazers? Right? Are we better off with Ineos? Has Ineos made things better? And you have to say no. Things are actually worse. In fairness to the Glazers, they did throw money at things. They did, right? And more times than not, we did qualify for the Champions League and stuff like that, and we improved. This is worse. This is bad. This is bad. I mean, what Ineos are doing, we're like the Glazers, right? This is what we are at the moment, right? What Ineos are. We're basically like the Glazers, right? Without spending. That is what we are right now. The Glazers without spending. So the saving grace for the Glazers was that we did spend money. They spent quite a lot of money. But now we're like the Glazers, but without the expenditure. So this is a nightmare scenario for Manchester United. Absolutely. Ellen, I know how you feel. I have two brothers and they both Liverpool fans. My younger brother's a Liverpool fan, Ellen. My younger fan's a Liverpool fan. My older brother is a Tottenham fan. My mum is a Wimbledon fan. My dad is a Huddersfield fan. Bit of a mixture there, isn't it? I mean, I've suffered a lot over the last few years, but I did have my fair share of joy in the 90s, though, isn't it? At the end of the day. Culture, what's going on, my friend? Culture Spot, I hope you're doing well. Good to see you, mate. Hope everything is blessed with you on this Thursday. The press thinks that we're pivoting to Nkoku because Ineos has a special relationship with Chelsea. Let's get training and ignore Sir Jim. We have lots of good players already and Portuguese speaking. I don't think these players are good enough, mate. Honestly, Culture Spot, I think if Man United were going to make a significant difference without signing any players, I would prefer to play the youth players. I'll be honest with you. Man United do need players, mate. Unfortunately, you can't you can't polish a turd. You know, you can't do that. These players are just not good enough. And look, talent-wise, you can argue that they're good, right? But it's not all about talent. It's also about this. You know, that old chestnut. You know, it's also about that. It's also about, having a mentality like we didn't have in the Europa League final. No, you have to have a mentality as well. Do you know what I mean? To win, a will to win. A belief that you can do it. And everyone is on the same page. And I just don't think these players are it. I think so many of these players are serial losers. And when you're a serial loser, it becomes infectious, and it becomes a culture. And this is why I was trying to change, talking about many times about the culture at the football club. The culture needs to change at this football club. You know what I mean? Yeah, I wish it was simple, mate. Chaninga, Glazers doesn't want Qatar. They prefer Ineos, knowing that they will still own most part of the United. They didn't want Qatar, but they would have had to sell to Qatar, Chandinga. Qatar, let me tell you something about Arabs, right? Arabs build things. They make things happen, mate. You know what I mean? Go to the Middle East, you'll see that. You know what I mean? They don't worship money like these guys. You know, and what I would say is this, right? They would have had to sell to Qatar if Jim Ratcliffe wasn't there. If Jim Ratcliffe wasn't there, they would have sold to Qatar. This is a fact, right? Let me just clear that up. They would have sold to Qatar if Jim Ratcliffe wasn't there. You know what I mean? My younger brother works for Spurs. Horrible. Keeps showing off pics with him and the child. For goodness sake, let him enjoy it. Revert 7. He's waited long enough, hasn't he? At the end of the day, yeah. Mickey, what's going on? Sal, finally you're talking about the ownership. Start a campaign with the mayor and council and refuse any city participation in the stadium. So finally, Mickey, I've been talking about it for 20 years, mate. I used to stand outside Old Trafford, giving out leaflets and things like that, mate. I've been on TV doing it. Last season, I went viral because of it. Last year, I went viral because of it. I have not stopped. I am actually exhausted, mate. I've done everything in my power. I created the 58th minute walkout, right? I've done that, right? And I got slandered for it, sabotaged for it. My brother's business got attacked because of it. I've done everything in my power to do it. Everything. It takes a collective to do it. Unfortunately, this fan base is so bloody divided that they won't do anything in regards to it. What do we need right now? And let me tell you what Man United need. Exactly why I made the 58th minute walkout. Man United need to empty stadiums. That's what Man United need. People need to make sure that Regeneration Project does not go ahead. Forget about the pictures. Forget about the shiny new toys and stuff like that. Forget about all this at the end of the day. Because, listen, this is not going to help us now. Right? Man United, a successful Man United on the pitch will organically build us a lovely stadium at Old Trafford. Right? We don't need this stadium. We don't need billions put into Man United. Don't listen to Gary Neville and people like that who are only interested in hotel football and their own interest. Don't listen to them because that is all they're interested in. They're only interested in the financial sides. All right? They don't really care about what goes on the football pitch. That's what I'm saying. And I have not stopped being laser out with my green and gold scarf in the Stretford end back in 2005. Non-stop, guys. Non-stop. Thousands of my own money. You know, at the end of the day, I've done my best, you know, and it takes a collective at the end of the day. You know, it takes a collective and I will never stop. I will never stop. You know what I mean? And I've never stopped. Ephraim, some people say that we cannot compare ourselves with another. Why are we not compare? We are bigger club lovers are mad. We are the biggest club and we should act like it. Big up everyone, big up Randy, big up Revert 7. Absolutely, big up yourself. Hope everything is blessed. Running our image, enough. Cheniga, building new stadium is for what? Who will pay for the new stadium? Doesn't buy players, and we're best with again. Chadinga, fantastic comment. Exactly what I'm talking about. The stadium should not right now be the priority, mate. We got to think about our priorities here. We can have a shining new stadium. We'll just be like Tottenham Hotspur, nice stadium. Do you know what I mean? But that's about it. You know, you need a good football team. You know, to play in a nice stadium. A stadium moving away from Old Trafford is one of the worst things Man United could do. Let me tell you right now, I want you to clip this because I want you to remember this when in many years' time when we played in a new stadium, right? Moving away from Old Trafford is the worst thing Man United could do because Old Trafford is our spiritual home. The Busby Babes, Sir Alex Ferguson. This is where it all happened. This should not be a priority, right? We should not be moving away from Old Trafford right now. We should not be thinking about new stadiums right now. And this is exactly what makes me think that Jim Ratcliffe is only here for his old vanity project. And that's what he wants. That's what he wanted from the beginning. He's not fussed about the football team. He's not fussed about what happens on the football pitch. He doesn't care about this football team. You know, he doesn't care. He's not a Man United fan. When he walked out of that car at Old Trafford for the first meeting with Manchester United in regards to the takeover process, dressed like a tramp, carrying a dirty old raggedy bag, probably had his sandwiches in it, I knew then that this guy is not serious. He doesn't care. Chelsea rejected him. And he threw money at Chelsea. And he hasn't thrown money at Man United, though, has he? It's crazy. Marky Mark, big up, exactly, players who can sell shirts. I remember when their name was on the front of the jersey, means nothing more than a bat. Absolutely, Marky Mark. And this is exactly what they want. This is why they won't go after sign Victor John. This is why they won't go and sign John Arias. This is why they didn't sign Maston Tuano, because they know that they're not going to sell shirts. You know what I mean? That they want that signing. They want the Mbumo. And trust me, this is why they're waiting for this Mbumo deal. This is why they're waiting for the shirt to come out. They're waiting for the 15th, 16th of July. Then they're going to go, that little stupid little promotional video that they do. Boom, 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 boom. That sort of thing. You know what I mean? And all that PR and stuff like that. That's what they want to do. This is what they're all about. The shirt. Sell the shirts. Sell the Mbumo shirt. The Mbumo shirt. You know what I mean? It's crazy, isn't it? Randy, we are a commercial club now, not a football club. Yeah, exactly. And Louis van Gaal was right when he said that. Man United are a commercial club. And Man United is still a commercial club right now since Sir Alex Ferguson left, since the Glazers came in, to be honest with you, because we knew what happened. Like, the Glazers will get praised, right? Let me tell you something. I want to clear up something very quickly. Man United was successful during the period of 2005 and 2012, 13. We were pretty successful during that period. But let me tell you something. That team of Ronaldo, of course, guys, and the Rooney, etc., was being built in 2003-4. All right, that team was being built then before the Glazers came in. So the Glazers had nothing to do with that team. All they took from that team is the good players and sold off the players and took the profit. And we bought bloody Gabriel Obertan and Marco Owen and players like that. That's when we knew that these Glazers don't care about this football club. That's when we knew they don't care. And to be honest with you, sadly, we got to go back to our roots. We got to get back to being a football club. We got to put football club back on our badge. Manchester United Football Club. Not Manchester United, the brand. Manchester United Football Club. That's what we need to get back to, because that's who we are. We're a football club which are created by the working class man and woman. That is what this football club is. A working class football club that was built by the working class man and woman. Sir Alex Ferguson was the working class. He comes from the working class. And what we're turning this football club into is a rich man's football club, which the only rich person they benefit. I tell you right now that they're going to take away the season tickets of people. They're going to take that away. You're not going to have your season tickets soon anyway. They're going to take away the season tickets from people. Trust me. And then they're going to make look, now you can go, the seats now are selling for as much as £500 to £700. It's madness. That is us. PSG outran, outpaced, out everything Madrid. That's what youth players with fresh legs do. Poor aging Madrid's. Yeah, Madrid are in a bit of a problem. Dabizas, they got a problem. I don't think PSG will have it easy against Chelsea though, as easy. I think PSG are a bit of a problem. I'll be dead in 10 years, and all these creeps won't tell me exactly, Durandi. No one knows what's going to happen in 10 years, mate. With all of us, do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, we want what's happening now. We live for today. We live for today. We live for today. We want to know what's going on today. That's what we want to talk about, Man United. We don't want to go, what's going to happen in 10 years, what we're going to do in that 10 years of this Regeneration Project and stuff like that. We want to know what's going on today. Unfortunately, we're not caring about today, are we? David says, Leon seemed to be very excited and overwhelmed when he visited Old Trafford. So lots of pressure on Diego Leon, because Diego Leon is a winner. I would say that. I mean, I've heard his father talk. I've heard Diego Leon talk about how he doesn't want to go on loan, how he wants to establish himself as a first-team player at Man United. I love that. I do love that. And good luck to him. Unfortunately, he's one player, and we got left-backs. You know what I mean? We got Amas, we got Dorgu, and now we got Diego Leon. We need bloody strikers and things like that. Do you know what I mean? I would much rather us gone out there and bought a South American striker that is up for it than, another defender. I would say that. But I wish Diego Leon all the best, of course. Absolutely. So I told you last season, the Sancho Rashford saga would drag on and on, and the wages obscene. Yeah, the problem is, and this is one thing I don't blame Ineos with. Well, I do in a way, because Qatar would have paid off their wages and they would have left the football club. This is one thing I would say, is that these players, they've got too much power. and they don't have to leave if they don't want to leave. It's just like what happened to Maguire last season when he wanted a $5 million payout to go to the West Ham. Do you remember? They're not going to leave. They don't have to leave. And to be honest with you, they don't really care about the England place. I'm starting to believe that they don't care about playing in the World Cup. They might start turning it on for the last 2 months of the season, but right now they're not really bothered. You know what I mean? They're just like, oh, I'll get my wage anyway, do a little bit of training on the pitch, blah, blah, blah. Some of us has to pay to train. You know what I mean? Some of us pay to train. They train for free. They get paid to train. We have to pay to train. They get paid to train. You know what I mean? That is how it is. So forgive me if I'm a little bit skeptical about their effort in training and things like that. It's pathetic. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Audio, Pimp, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. Rashford only plays well in 18 months of his contract for a renewal. Exactly, Audio, and he gets the new contract and then back to square one, isn't it, at the end of the day? I'm surprised we didn't fall for that. I knew it when he was signing those contracts back in them days. I used to say, why are we giving them a new contract? Why are we giving them a new contract? I used to say it. And not only him, Luke Shaw as well, Phil Jones, all these players. I used to say, why are we giving them a new contract? What have they earned? What have they done to justify this contract? And let me tell you what justifies a new contract. Challenging for a bloody Premier League title. That justifies a new Premier League, that new contract. Challenging for Champions League. Qualifying for Champions League. That justifies a new contract. Consistency. Not just, oh, you know what? You're doing pretty well in a couple of games and we're going to give you a new contract now. I mean, how can you go from 30 goals in the season, right, to about 3? That is down to you, isn't it? That's down to you. That is down to you. If you 30 goals a season to about 3, that's down to you. Now, you are the one who's down tooling. You are the one who's down tooling. We do not need any distractions if Rashford go to preseason. Amarim will be weak. I mean, I agree with that. Absolutely. Hopefully he doesn't go to the preseason. Lee Davies, what's going on? Taking over Barcelona. Pick up Lee Davies. Roberto Carlos will come when players come and the position is criminal. Absolutely. Kevin, Brian and Boomer, new update. I've said it mid-July, Kevin. Mid-July, my friend. Something happened because of the shirt. And that's what I would say. Big up, Timo. What's going on, my friend? I hope you're doing well. Good to see you. I don't think they'll muller them, Kazi. I don't think they will. I think Real Madrid are crap. Sal, do you think Man United is going to sign in Bruno? Yes, I think it's done, mate. I think it'll be in the middle of July. I've always said that. Guys, thank you for joining me today. Big up Mark, big up everyone. Sorry I can't read through everyone's comments, of course. Big up Irfan, big up Mark, big up everyone. Big up Koku. Ineos Cooking, vomit, absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, thank you. You absolute legends. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Albi, AC Milan fans did the right thing. They walked away until the owners sold. Absolutely, Albi. And this is what Man United need to do. Of course. Good morning, Gray. What's going on? I hope you're doing well. Very well, my friend. How do any of you know whilst you're here? Please smash the like and subscribe. Thank you so much, Gray. You're absolute legend. Thank you so much, my friend. Hope you're doing well, guys. Thank you for joining me today. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Please don't forget to smash a like on the video as well. And please put your notifications on if you could be as kind. I'm Sal Warner. This is Breaking Dawn. And I'll see you later for Chatterbox. If nothing else breaks, of course, I will be live, guys, when anything breaks. If it ever breaks, of course, guys. So, guys, take it easy. I'm Sal Warner. This is Breaking Dawn. And have a great day. See you soon. Peace.